what was life like in Vietnam when you were there?
Kim Thúy was only 11 years old when she and her family scrambled to leave Saigon in 1979. The war in Vietnam had made life there unbearable, forcing them to flee their homeland.
The tipping point was when my uncle, he was 17, and we knew that he would be 18 some months later, so he would go directly to a battlefield. So we had to decide, and also it depended on if you could find a boat. And at that point, somebody introduced to my mom a boat, so we could leave, and we had to make a decision very quickly. You don't have a lot of time to think. And also we had, 10 soldiers from the north of Vietnam living in our own house. So everything became very, very complicated for us to live our daily life. So that's why the decision came almost naturally. I was gonna say there was not one moment, but it was an accumulation of many things.
Along with more than 200 other people, they boarded a rickety fishing boat and braved the high seas for 4 days before landing on a beach in Charating in Pahang.
We had no idea where we were going. We just went on a boat. We didn't know the captain. We didn't know the number of people we were together. So on the boat was not more than 12 or 15 meters long, and we were 218 persons. And we didn't know before we got off the boat, actually. Once we were in Malaysia, we started counting, and then we knew that we were 218, but we didn't know before. And when we landed, we didn't know where we were. We just knew that it was land. And so we guessed that maybe it was Thailand or Malaysia or something, calculating the angle, but no idea. We needed you to tell us that we were in Malaysia. So we were lucky because some boats, they didn't know and they just followed the waves and they ended up in Vietnam again. And they went directly to prison, of course. And so we had no idea.
More than 1 million people fled Vietnam after the war, and while most of them successfully found homes elsewhere, an estimated 200,000 perished on the treacherous journey out of their homeland. Kim Thúy and her family were truly some of the lucky ones.
The first thing we saw was a beautiful beach. And even if the beach was not beautiful, we would have found it beautiful because we saw land. Anything that looked like land was magnificent, was fabulous. And so we were just happy that we could land. And as soon as we land, there was a small rain and the boat broke up 15 minutes after we got off the boat. So we were very lucky. 15 minutes more and I would not be here with you because we would have sank somewhere in the sea. And so we were just happy to be there. And Malaysia is beautiful. A couple of days later, we saw the first truck of the Red Crescent arriving and bringing us food. I was born with so many allergies: eggs, milk, fish, seafood. I couldn't eat anything. And on the boat, we didn't eat anything. And then when we arrived at that beach, and a couple of days later, the truck arrived, and the first meal we had were sardines and rice, sardines and a tomato sauce. And we were so hungry, so we just jumped on it, we ate it. I didn't have an allergic reaction to it, and I've lost all of the other allergies. Now I can eat everything. You can no longer kill me. I was such a princess when I was smaller, all fragile, crying all the time and weak and small. And then I arrive at the camp, I become super resistant. When I saw the logo, the Red Crescent, it's always linked with happiness, with hope. When we saw it, we knew we were saved and we knew we were safe. When we were in the camp, every week, we had these trucks coming in with food. And so when the truck arrived, it's always like a party, right? To say, food is coming, help is coming. And we were waiting for that truck, and I still remember the man who drove that truck. There were many, but one of them, he's very tall, and he always came. You know, he was a regular, and he was so handsome. You know, he came in and all the girls are like, oh wow, he's so handsome. And we think that he was in love with one of the girls in the camp. But we don't know, you know, we just write stories. Or maybe I wrote stories, I don't know. I think the hardest one was the weather. Otherwise, Canada was so welcoming. They really took us in, brought us in, and took care of us so well that I would say we had a fairy tale. Yes, the whole city. They just volunteered. The day we arrived, they all came to the hotel where we were, and then each family would have a family who would say, we will take care of you. And you know, so each of us would find a family who would just take us go shopping, because we didn't know what to buy, you know, for clothes and where. Where do you go? And you need a car to take, and how you rent an apartment and everything. So you have a family who would take you around and set you up and get you settled, and then put us into schools. Okay, if it's primary, elementary school, they go there. High school, they go to a different school. So each family, depending on our needs, someone will take care of us. I want them to see that you can come from nowhere. You can really fall into a pit, a very dark hole. Life is so full of pits, right? You can fall at any time, so many traps. But I like to think that we can look up and see the blue sky. Yes, you might fall, but please look at the blue sky while you're falling. Because there's always, you know, if you have to leave, if you have to die, the last image is still a blue sky, because there is a blue sky.